We're almost a month into the NHL season, and we have learned a lot about what the remainder could possibly look like. Will Vegas Golden Knights be back-to-back champions? Are the San Jose Sharks the worst team of all time? Is Connor McDavid not going to be an Oiler by the end of the year? Around the league, teams and players are just getting started, but we have seen enough from them that will lead us into our best hot takes of the season so far. Hello and welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Hannah Valcourt alongside Owen Gelber and Josh Bartosik. So, Owen, what's your first hot take of the season?
Well, Hannah, I have a lot of hot takes that I want to talk about, but I want to start a little bit lukewarm. We're going to ease our way into it. I want to talk about the Arizona Coyotes and how I think that they're a fringe playoff team. Maybe not top two in their division. We know it's top-heavy between the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. But I think they get the job done and they clinch that wild card position. Starting out 5-1, not the best through the first 11 games, but they showed they can compete with some of the big guys, taking down the Devils when I was in attendance for that game and almost beating the Rangers the day after. So, guys, what do you think about that?
I mean, I can't be on the same board as that. Look, I love what the Arizona Coyotes are doing. I really like the young talent. Logan Cooley has been incredible to watch coming out of college for Minnesota. Has been a dazzling player. Had probably the best goal we saw all season in the preseason. And then that veteran talent, Jason Zucker coming in, and you have Matt Dumba as well. You have a nice mix of young talent and old talent as well. But I just think they need maybe another year or two of development. I mean, if things really break down in the Western Conference, and they've already seen that a little bit with some of these teams that we thought would be top contenders, maybe they could sneak their way in. I just think they're maybe 2 to 3 years out from actual contention, but it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world to me.
I'm going to have to agree with you, Owen. I really think that this Coyotes team, they were rebuilding for the past few years, and this past offseason, they brought in those veteran guys like Jason Zucker, who really are helping those young men out leading up to where they want to ultimately be in the playoffs. I think if they do make the playoffs this year, it will be a late in the season clinched playoff wild card spot, but I think that they could do it.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of Western Conference, we'll go to a team that is probably not going to make the playoffs anytime soon. The San Jose Sharks. This might not just be the worst team in the league this year. This might be the worst team of all time. They're 0-10-1 right now. They're being outscored 55-12, and they're the first team to give up back-to-back 10-goal games since the Boston Bruins from 1965. Everything was still in black and white in 1965. That's how long ago that was. This team has no direction. They're awful. Now, the worst team of all time in terms of wins were the 1975 Washington Capitals. They only had 8. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I don't even think the San Jose Sharks win 8 games. I think they're going to be just as bad. They have been horrible. There's been no direction in that team. They had a shootout loss or an overtime loss to the Colorado Avalanche, but they've been losing every game by 3 or 4 goals. They just look horrible. So, Owen, what are your thoughts on that one?
Well, Josh, I agree with you that they are bad, like really bad. And I agree they don't have much direction, but I don't know about 8 wins. That may be a little bit of a hot take. I could see them going north of 10 wins. That being said, though, I do agree they may be, not statistically, but based on what we see, the worst team in NHL history. And, it makes you feel for some of the players, too, because there are some new faces on that San Jose team that I wanted to talk about. You look at Mackenzie Blackwood coming over from New Jersey, along with those guys, Fabian Zetterlund and Nikita Ahotuk, guys that were involved in that Timo Meier trade. And, you feel for those guys because you think about those guys coming over from New Jersey, who's now in Cup contention, and they're not playing for this dumpster fire of an organization in San Jose. So you feel bad for them. And just the point differential is absurd. You look at the 3 Hughes brothers in the league, Jack, Luke, Quinn. Them combined, the 3 players have more points than the entire organization of San Jose. That cannot happen, and they have to figure it out soon.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, Josh. I really don't think that this team will get more than 8 wins. There's just no way. They're just that bad. They haven't shown any improvement, and they have a tough schedule for the rest of the season. They play Dallas multiple times and the Colorado Avalanche. They play all of those top of the league teams that go far in the playoffs multiple times, and there's just no way that they're going to even come close to beating those teams. Not only that, but all the other teams, too, that they're playing that might not be at the top level as at the Avalanche and the Stars and the Golden Knights, but there's just no way. I don't think they're going to get those 8 wins.
So why don't we talk about the President's Trophy? I know that's something you wanted to talk about as well, so let's get into that.
So my hot take is that the Dallas Stars will be winning the President's Trophy this year. I really think that they have the most consistent goaltending out of all of the teams. They have the defense, the offense, the scoring. They have everything they need. Last year they went 47 wins, 21 losses, 14 ties, and I think that this year they'll be able to. They have great competition. They're used to playing the Golden Knights, the reigning champs. They're gonna beat them this year when they face off in the season, and I really think that they're a high contender and they're gonna win the President's Trophy.
Well, I don't know if I agree with you there, Hannah. I think if anyone from the West is going to walk away with the President's Trophy, I think it's Vegas' West to lose. And yes, you look at the President's Trophy, you think of Boston from last year. I don't think we'll have another 65-win team anytime soon. I think it's a much more competitive year than we saw last year, both in the East and the West. But if we're sticking in the West, I think Vegas takes it. They've been sick to start the season. They started 11-1. We're going to glaze over the loss yesterday at Anaheim. We'll forget that ever happened. But otherwise, between Adin Hill and Logan Thompson, who thought that tandem in net could be holding it down as well as they did last year? People thought that was a fluke year and it couldn't be done again. But look at their numbers now. They're starting a 1A, 1B tandem and just they've been amazing. And they're such a deep team backed by Captain Mark Stone. I see them going back to the Cup and breaking that curse of the President's Trophy and two-peating. Josh?
I don't hate the take personally, but there is someone on the Dallas Stars that I do have a bit of a dislike for, and that's Pierre DeBoer, the head coach for the Dallas Stars. I've said it multiple times. We just talked about his former team, the San Jose Sharks. He has never been able to win it big in the moment in the playoffs. But we're not talking about the playoffs. We're talking about the regular season. And honestly, there would be nothing more Pierre DeBoer-like than winning the President's Trophy and then losing in the first round. So I might agree with you on this one. I do really like the way that team's built. Roope Hintz and Jason Robertson are phenomenal young pieces. And Joe Pavelski ages like fine wine every year. I don't think the dude's gonna retire till he's Gordie Howe types of old in the league. And you mentioned the tandem in Vegas. You don't really need a tandem in Dallas when you have arguably the best goaltender in the National Hockey League in Jake Ottinger. So I personally agree with that take. I think they could be a very solid team.
Well, guys, some interesting takes. I want to ramp it up a little bit more. I want to talk about my buddy Nolan Colleray and his hot takery. I want to begin to really cook and get warm in the kitchen. So, guys, my hot take is that the Vancouver Canucks will hoist the Stanley Cup well before the Buffalo Sabres. Josh, what do you think?
This might be the dumbest take I've ever heard in my life. The Vancouver Canucks were the laughingstock of the league last year. They got rid of Bruce Boudreau, who was supposedly supposed to be the new face behind the bench for them. And yeah, they might be off to a good start now in this year, but they don't have the same level of prospects that the Sabres do. Alex Tuch, Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, all those guys. I mean, Tage Thompson as well. I think it's a horrid take. I think the Sabres will eventually find their way back into the playoffs this year. I think the Canucks ended up falling off, personally.
I also agree with you. I don't think all the young talent Buffalo has, they're going to start getting used to it in the swing of things. The season's just started. Once they get warmed up a little bit, they're going to get used to it, and then they're going to clinch their playoff spot at the end of this year. So now we're going into Josh's second hot take, and this is another big hot take that's going on the table.
Yeah, I'll make this one pretty simple and straight up. I don't think Connor McDavid's going to be an Edmonton Oiler by the end of this year. Look, the Edmonton Oilers have 2 wins to start the season. Both of their goaltenders have an above 3 goals against average and a below 900 save percentage. And he is the best player in the entire National Hockey League, maybe of all time. If I'm Connor McDavid, if I want to win a cup, I'm getting the heck out of Edmonton pronto.
I mean, Josh, I 100% agree with you there. The question is, where in the world does he go? Who has the money to afford a guy like Connor McDavid? You look at what he's worth, $12 million. No team in contention for the Cup has that money, and no one has the assets to give up for McDavid. So I don't know where he's going. Hannah?
Yeah, I honestly think a top player like him, one of the best NHL players of all time, arguably, if he wants to win a Stanley Cup, he's going to have to leave somewhere else. So my second hot take is another hot one, but I'm going to go with that Linus Ullmark is not the starting goaltender for the Boston Bruins. It's going to be Jeremy Swayman. He's showing in his stats that he is the better goaltender out of the two. They keep going back and forth between the two of them. I think after tonight, what we see the Bruins play against Dallas and Swayman starting, this will define who they're going to stick with for the rest of the season.
Well, Hannah, I don't know if there's even a starter on Boston. I feel like they really run with that 1A, 1B tandem. They kind of run with the hot hand, but no one's the official backup. No one's the official starter. And I think we'll only see Boston run with one goalie come time for the playoffs. But for the time being, I see both of these guys splitting time.
I have to agree with you on this one. Look, after Linus Ullmark got injured last year, I think maybe last year was maybe too much of an overperformance from him, and we're going to see him kind of dial back. So I kind of like Swayman. I always liked him when he came into the league. I think I really enjoyed that pick from you.
All right, awesome. As we continue to watch this season unfold, I'm sure our hot takes will be answered. There is a lot of hockey left to play. That's going to do it for this edition of NHL Hot Takes on Penn State Sports Night. With alongside Josh Bartosik and Owen Gelber, I'm Hannah Valcourt.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.